there, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me, and welcome to the Art of Katie Hargrove, where I like to draw silly ideas and animals. It's my first time making a video, and so I guess the intro is so nice I had to play it twice. Oh jeez. Well, anyways, tonight I will be drawing some Egyptian mongoose for you. If you've got drawing suggestions, please post them in the chat and we'll see what happens. So, okay, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some really questionable music on for everybody. It's very much free music. So hopefully that's okay. I'm going to adjust the balance on the, let's see. I just want a little bit of stuff in the background. There we go. Should play that. And now I am going to pull up some reference of these all kinds of pictures of lovely Egyptian mongoose. I've never drawn one of these before. As you can see, they've got very strange eyes, a very strange nose. They sort of have goat eyes, and little round thin ears without like a whole lot of fur there, and sort of, I don't know, very textured fur. It kind of looks like almost like a porcupine to me, the way it's got the banding in it, and very short, dark fur on the snout. I'm not entirely sure there's even fur there, but I'm assuming it's just very fine. And this wonderful, just very square nose. So I'm gonna try drawing some of these guys. The program I'm using to draw tonight is called Art Rage. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but it's fun. It mimics. It doesn't exactly mimic ink exactly, but I do very much enjoy drawing with it. Let's see. Okay. Oops. Uh-oh. Oh no. My eye. Did I grab... You know what? I think I grabbed the wrong Wacom pen, which is no bueno. Aha. They look very similar. Here's my Cintiq pen, and here's my little Intuos travel pen. This one's got a skinnier bottom to it than this guy. Alright, got it sorted out. It's ridiculous. Oh, this still isn't working. Oh dear. Is this where I find out that I have multiple Wacom pens and did not know? Or that maybe I did something very silly, like unplugged my Cintiq? That would be hilarious. Let me check some cords in the back here. Following my cable around. See, that one looks alright. It goes to the power source. Where does this one go? Well, I guess the USB, and this one goes to there. That all seems fine. What if I turn my Cintiq on and off again? Let's see what happens. Maybe it'll reboot for me? Oh dear. Let's see if Photoshop's responsive. It could be the program. Might not be. Might not be whatever it is. Okay. Oh, no, that is not doing it. Oh my goodness. I feel terrible. Well, I could sit here and try to draw with a mouse, but that's kind of not the best. Oh my gosh. You guys. This whole thing where I'm like, I'm going to try to make better videos and be more chatty on camera is not working out for me. It's kind of 0% working out for me right now. I'm not sure. troubleshooting's not really my best sport, you know what I mean? This episode should be called Katie Messes Up with Technology Real Bad and Doesn't Know What She's Doing at All. I think. Here's a butt with a fart cloud coming out of it, because that's how I feel right now. Kind of farty. Let's see. No, I don't want to save that Photoshop. That's pretty much the last thing I want to save. Alright, are you my friend? Let me see if I can. No, what? No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to sleep. Oh my gosh, Windows. How do you even window? I'm going to type in Wacom and see if this little desktop center thing. Backup settings, manage settings. Oh goodness. I know you didn't come here to watch me look at Wacom settings. Oh, nope, I don't have a cloud. I guess everyone's on the cloud now? Oh no. Okay, not that. Maybe tablet properties? A supported tablet was not found on the system. Ooh, maybe if I do the awesome thing where I try turning it off and then unplugging it and replugging it will work. I'm going to try that. I turned it off. I'm going to kind of follow my cable around back here and hope for the best. Let's see. Maybe? It would be so awesome if this worked. It would make me very, 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 very happy. Alright, let's try it. Yay! Ooh, it's bright red. Maybe I'll go with it. I'm so happy the troubleshooting worked. Whoa. That was really stressful for me. I'm not used to this. Okay, so Egyptian mongoose. I don't know a whole lot about mongoose. I think they're related to meerkats. They got a long body like a rat. Woo! And they kind of have this low profile because they're kind of stalking stuff on the ground like snakes and stuff. And they've got a tail that comes out, and then kind of these little back legs with chubby haunches, and then their little front legs like right here, and they've got ears there, and they're like, oh my, I'm gonna go eat somebody, probably a snake. I think that's what they eat. They kind of have fat tail, and then the tail gets kind of small. And I'm just gonna make this a little ridiculous. Here's my first mongoose. Hi, how's it going? You know what? There's a part of me that thinks this is kind of cute looking. Is that just me? No, just me. All right, maybe. Here's some little paws. Here's a little. It's more like I've got all the fur and I've got claws. And here's my box nose that Katie saw earlier. And some little ears. And yeah, I'm gonna finish this a little bit, just a little bit, because I think it's a little bit charming. No, just me. Might just be me. I bet it's just me. This like it's kind of furry, and I give it just. It's almost like not like a rat tail right here, and then the one I'm looking at, it's actually got a cute little tuft there. So there's my very first Egyptian mongoose. It's pretty much the best art I've ever seen. I actually like it a lot. Here's a cute baby. But if I want to take that guy, I'm going to put him down to 20%. I hope you can see him. And I'm going to make a smaller brush. Like, let's go with like a 9. Oh, come on. Oh, tool size. Oh, yeah, I can type it in. Yay. I know that's really simple. but I can totally use that as a base to draw like a more studied drawing where I'm looking at the anatomy, I'm looking at the proportions a little bit more. I can get a little bit better feeling out of it. I can make corrections. And kind of by doing these iterations, you can sort of train yourself to see animals more clearly and draw them like, I think, expedite how fast you can draw them because you just have this sort of like derpy little shapes in your mind. And even if the anatomy is not just so, yeah, it's, you'll sell it. You can sell what it is. It's pretty good. Let's see. Show don't tell, right? I don't know. Let's see. I want to indicate sort of a shoulder blade and an elbow right here. So I'm kind of thinking of it as like a shoulder blade and an elbow, and then the wrist right here. That's what I'm looking at. I'm just gonna undo that real quick. And they have a pretty good taper to their paw. And I don't know exactly what that paw looks like, but I can kind of make a shape that sells it pretty well. Let's see. It looks like they kind of really kind of step on their toes a lot. I think maybe they've got little something between maybe a badger and a ferret footwise down there. So maybe a little bit like little hands, kind of like they're not full on hands like a primate or a raccoon has fairly handy paws, like not quite that much, but maybe the amount a ferret does where they can kind of clap things a little bit and grasp just a little bit. I don't think these are related to ferrets at all. I think they just have sort of a, I believe they call it convergent evolution, where they have similar traits to an animal that's kind of occupying the same niche. So now I'm kind of thinking about, so if the shoulder's here like this, the spine kind of comes in, and then there's kind of some hips, attaches there, goes to a knee, goes to the ankle, comes back, and there's little toes. So that's stuff I'm thinking about. I'm looking at the reference. I'm straying from it a little bit, trying to, make it work, as it were. And imagine what's going on beneath the surface of this creature's fur, because you can't see what's going on. And so it's like, without studying it, the anatomy of an animal, whether that's through visually studying the skeleton and muscle structure, or physically, like getting your hands on an animal, like if you're playing around with your dog and you grab its paw and you're not hurting the dog, but kind of playing with it, and you just kind of like move the leg a little bit, and like, oh, how does that leg move? What's the range on there? Okay, and then your dog's like, what's happening? My feet tickle, and then it runs off. There's all kinds of ways to study creatures. These back feet are longer, like where that joint is, than on the front feet. I think a lot of animals are like this. I don't know if the feet on these creatures actually get black, but in the reference I'm looking at, it just seems to get very dark. And this one's kind of pushing off from its toes right there. This has got a lot of pressure on the foot. And again, I don't know exactly what the anatomy is on his feet, so I'm just sort of trying to go by general shapes. That tail I made down here, it's like it's too fat. It's taking up too much mass for what it is. So I'll raise that a little bit. Make it a little bit fluffier. I want that to be rounded. My rage sometimes, I don't know why, but it gets a little squirrely when I get to the corners of the screen, so sometimes my brush wobbles around and it drives me kind of crazy. So you'll see me like doing strokes multiple times because I'm just trying to get that crinkle off that brush. I want like a long stroke, and it's not quite letting me do it, so I'm just gonna make little hairy ones to try to put that curve together. And I'll just, it's like in the reference, I am definitely making the tail pose up a little bit just to sort of fit it into the image. And it's like I got an image like this, but the reference is kind of like cropped and stuff, and then I drew it too big, and instead of like making it smaller because I want like a nice resolution, I'm just gonna leave it big. So I'm just like, woo, tail. That's how that works, right? It gets pretty thin pretty quickly. I think it's all furry, but it just looks so thin, almost like a rat's tail for a moment. But rats are sort of, they've got these like, well, it depends on the species of rat, but they have these kind of scaly tails with fur, like hairs that come out of it, and so they're sort of they're not unpleasant to touch, but they're not fluffy. If you hold a rat by the tail, I mean, don't pick it up by the tail, but if you like hold its tail, it's like, oh, I don't really want to sit here petting that. It's a little rough. Let's see, get like a real ear in, not like what I drew. They seem to have fairly thin, rounded ears that integrate into the fur quite a bit. So I'm trying to hint at that, like a thinness. I don't know that I'm doing the best job of it. Yeah, let me do that. Floof a little bit. And I'll just sort of leave that there. This creature has either its ears turned or its head's tilted a little, so I'll put the other ear behind it. And then the head's really interesting. They've got very small eyes, and the eyes have this sort of goat-like quality, which I'm not really going to be able to hint in here. I'm gonna do something pretty rough. Oh. And they don't really have a ledge on their face like animals. It's almost like the nose goes up again and then down slightly. It's really interesting. But it's like it's very pointed and predatory, but also sort of I don't know, rodent-like at the same time. Does that make any sense? They have that kind of like feline, predatory, like it's kind of got the mouth open a little bit, like, here I go, I'm on the hunt. Okay, well, I'm gonna hide the underdrawing now. So it's like, that's much more realistic looking than, you know, woo, this fella. A little bit different. But it's all kind of the same knowledge. Like that first thing, it's like, it's silly looking, but that's sort of my first impression of it. And this is sort of being literal to that first impression and just drawing over the top of it to kind of get a feel for what's there, but sort of stay in a comfortable area without trying to overwhelm myself with, I don't know, thinking about too much, like, oh, structure here, anatomy there. It's like, okay, I put down something silly and relaxing. I'm just going to kind of like fill in the details over it and try to measure a little bit. Ooh. And then the next time I draw it, I'm starting to build up this library of knowledge about this creature in my mind, and it'll just sort of be easier and easier. And then when I start cartooning it, it's like I'll have a real sense of what that animal's supposed to be like. It's like, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But I do want to just sort of hint at the mass of what's going on there a little bit more. I very much, I do like this darkness that they have on their face quite a bit. I think it's very interesting. It kind of goes over the eyes. I quite like it. It's like not, I mean, I feel like I kind of made it look like a Wolverine a little bit there. And then there's something about their fur pattern that almost looks like stripes, but not quite. Like they're really, they're definitely a creature that's trying to blend in. And then I like to go in and just throw in some big, fat shadow strokes here and there, just to break up all my feathery, fussy work. It's like that's, why do I get so fussy? I don't know. I know I don't want to be. I like these broad strokes that really separate things out a little bit more, much more than the fussy things I often do. Yeah, I'll just give them a little shadow. Oh yeah, I'm getting in too deep, but I do like to give myself. I don't know. I like to erase as much as I do add. I find it adds interest and sharpness to my shapes. I like to just erase through things that aren't so important. Like, why is this line so long? That's silly. Doesn't need to be that way. Butt fur. What's a butt fur? I don't know. Yeah, see, I'm being too fussy right now. You can see me. I'm trying to like dive into it. Like oh, I'm gonna do a real drawing, like with all the fancy stuff now. Anyways, Egyptian mongoose, and I'm gonna do maybe some closer heads now. I want to show you that the first one. I can't get over this thing. I don't know. It's not good, but it's making me happy, which I do quite enjoy. There's them both at the same time. That's kind of weird looking. It can be fun. I do feel like I made this creature a little bit too Wolverine like. Not that that's a bad thing, but it wasn't intentional, and I think that's that's kind of important, having intentional outcomes in your drawings. It's kind of a pretty big deal. Also, by the way, there are all kinds of species of mongoose. I don't think I really realized how many different critters there are. It's sort of amazing. What is happening? That's not what I wanted. Sorry. I'm just trying to find like a kind of a higher res picture of like their face that I can sort of go off of. Because I do want to be true to them and know what they look like. And they actually have pretty gnarly teeth, these guys. Oh my gosh. Let's see. No. I've got mongoose face. I just look super pissed. And I've got goat eyes. And I've got this short nose. And I'm just like, I'm kind of smiling, but I'm kind of like, I'm gonna bite your face off. And then I've got these ears around here. And then I just turn into a sort of a massive neck all of a sudden. Ah! Mongoose! Anyways, so there's a super derp picture I just drew. It's super derpy. Go back to my 9 brush. Do I want 9 brush? Yeah, I'm gonna do some big shapes first. Because that's actually my favorite thing to do. Let's see. So, they actually have a bit of a point to their ear, slightly. I'm going to indicate that. And their ear's a bit boxy. It's kind of like this shape. And then just kind of a bend to that one over there. I'm sort of measuring things a little bit against what I've drawn already. And then I think I'm just going to hide that. It kind of looks like a panda bear. Let's see. Actually, I think I'm going to hide this one too. Not all the way, but like I'm going to do like 20% on that and then draw over this way. Let's see. How big is this brush? Yeah, it feels about right. But yeah, they actually have this kind of like furrowed brow, which usually animals don't really have stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. And usually, I don't know why, I really like drawing the eyes first because there's so much personality in them. And for me, it does a bit dictate the angle of the face. However, I sort of lay the eye out. A lot of times I won't draw the eye first because I think it kind of messes with my perception of scale. I think the eye size is actually pretty important to like how we see faces and how we perceive how big maybe a threatening force of some sort is. I'm not entirely sure. It's like, you know how you start talking and you just kind of like lose track of what you're saying? That's what just happened to me. Let's see. They just really do. They just have all this fur. Like you barely even, like their ears really just sort of blend into their head. It's kind of amazing. And there's just this flimsy white line, the very lightest line around their ears. So I'm just I'm gonna indicate it here, even though I think that looks weird. I don't know. I think I'm gonna make this a little bit lighter, like 10%. It's kind of messing with me to see that image. At some point, you gotta let it go. That stuff you kind of block in, because if you keep looking at it, you can't unsee it, and you can't do something new because you can't stop staring at the thing that came before. This weird boxy nose, it's so strange. I assume it's for kind of like pushing dirt up or something. Something like this. Oh, my eraser's too big. Eraser, don't be so big. Oh. Let's see. Oh, they just have this great boxy muzzle. It makes me really happy. There's like a subtlety to it that's kind of tricky for me to get. And so it's like I do studies like this because I really want to understand what's going on in the creatures more. I wish I was a bit better about maybe really learning the anatomy, really nailing that stuff down. But it scares me a little bit to learn too much anatomy because I don't know. I feel like the more I learn about anatomy, the more beholden I get to it. And so there's some balance there that I haven't quite figured out for myself um, on how to learn what the real thing is and retain the personality of kind of like first impression of what that animal sort of means to me. So these balancing acts. Like I said, just it's massive. Can't quite see what the. It's got those little front teeth, and they are kind of tricky. It's just sort of like splay out a little bit. Yeah, it's like they kind of push forward. They're definitely a little sort of clipping something or others. It's got a lot of meat right there. And it looks like it's fairly like doesn't like you can't really see the back teeth at all. It looks like it's got a lot of skin that sort of comes in. And I'm wondering if that's to kind of seal the mouth while it's rooting around near the ground or something. Fuzzy. Get those. Little fuzzy little like it's meaty and then it's kind of this little extra fuzz around the lip and then it goes into the regular fur. I'm not quite sure how to describe that without sounding really weird about it. Let's see. And this kind of head fur kind of points down. It's kind of boxy. Very boxy slash pointy creatures. Oh, they're so strange. Let's see, I'm gonna hide that because I'm not. I think I'm done with my eye. The initial thing I drew. Just the littlest bit of ear over there. What's the word? Is the word hoary? Hoary? Is that what color this creature is? Where it's sort of like, it's not quite stripes, it's kind of Black and white, black and white, black and white, black and white everywhere. I think that's what it might be called. Stop for a moment. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Just kind of doing things. Let's try. I'm gonna try doing something. Let's see. Just trying to get some kind of a direction to the fur, that sort of thing. Whiskers are great because they just sort of go everywhere. Whiskers are wonderful things. Let's try it this way. Not quite. Just kind of cleaning up the teeth a little bit. Adding some of that. I'm gonna use the word hoary, some of that hoary texture. And this great little critter. And some of that white ear fluff that I was liking so much. Yeah, I don't know. Egyptian mongoose. So strange. What a weird animal. It's like a little bit of a ferret, a little bit of a cat, a little bit of a rodent. I think their eyes are kind of scary. Does that make sense? It's got kind of scary eyes. Let's see. For no reason, I'm going to paint this guy. And what I like to do is pick something that's just so gross. You don't even know what to do with yourself a little bit. So I'm thinking I'm going to make my brush as big as possible. Let's see what this brush does. Oh, wait. I should go above this and I should set my layer mode. Wait, cancel? Oh, how do I do this? Blend mode. Multiply. Yeah, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. How do you like this hotness? It's a little upsetting. I don't think it's too upsetting. It might be the best color I've ever seen. And then I go in with big, yeah. That fat eraser, erasing all my nonsense out of here. Oh, what happened? Sometimes our age puts little dots where I don't want to see them. And I'm like, what? No, thank you. Get out of here. What happened? Neon Egyptian mongoose. No one's ever seen you before. First of its kind, probably. I don't know. I don't check the internet ever. Let's see. Whoops. We will do a. Let's try a blend mode called. Watercolor? Let's see what watercolor does. That sounds cool. I don't know that actually did anything. Let's try a different blend mode. Color. Where color at? There we go. All right. Color, you're so good. Color make me happy. I don't know. I don't use colors the good way like some artists do. You know how they like take a good color and make the art look like pretty and better. I kind of do the opposite. I kind of make it look as trash as possible because I love it so much. You don't even understand the joy I'm experiencing right now, which is this nonsense. Control it a little bit. Not all the way though. Too much control is crazy. Let's see. Little. Sort of just trying to make some like slightly patterned stuff going on in the color, so it's just a little bit, you know, just got a little something extra going on so it looks intentional and not like I just completely wasn't paying attention, because I was making these choices on purpose, right? You saw me. So crazy. Okay, there is weird. Hi guys. Neon baby. What's this? Is anything on this layer? This is just a random layer. You know what? Random layer? You're getting color. I'll put some color in you. Where is the fill bucket? Because that's going to happen. Does this not have fill bucket? Oh, wait, there it is. Woo, who's it going to be? Oh, that's pretty good. How do we do that yellow? Kind of like that yellow. Maybe it could be a little bit brighter. I don't know. Somehow, I feel like that's getting less awesome. No. How to tell a program to make neon is what I want to know. Because all I want to do is make it the worst color ever. Okay. Stepping back. I'm stepping back. That's kind of nice. Just like black and white thing. I'll probably post a couple of versions of this later. So I'm just gonna draw I don't know, some cartoons, I guess. Not for long. If I do it for too long, I won't know what's happening. Oh, am I still? No, I'm gonna let. Let's see. So, what I know about Egyptian monkeys, they have boxy noses. They've got kind of black markings on their faces. They've got hoary fur. They've got kind of these slightly pointed, boxy, but invisible ears and goat eyes. What? And then a long, weird body. And super, super big, like, bottom teeth, apparently. I am making an assumption that perhaps the top teeth are as gnarly as the bottom teeth, but I really don't know. I have no idea. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I don't know. Just like mad guy box ferret. Ugh. I feel like if you change the colors a little bit so far, this just sort of looks like a mad red panda. Is that just me? Ooh. Except with a weird extra long neck. Oh, that's terrible. That's fucking terrible. I'm doing something different. I ain't allowed like that. Look at this. That's a mess. That's a mess. No, thank you. There's no charm in that. Ah. See, I'm on the spot now. When you're on the spot, you're trying to draw a cartoon. It's a little tricky. So I gotta break myself out of it. So I'm just gonna revert back to my shape thing because that's how you do. Okay, boxy man, long neck. What? I don't know. Got a long body, got a long neck, got a weird tail. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Squish it. Yeah, let's try something like that. That makes me feel a lot better than whatever was happening a moment before. I'm going to scale it down so that I've got a little room to play with. Small brush. I don't do small brush too well. Like when I scroll down, it's a little weird. Boop. You know what? It's hard, that muzzle. I think is what's puzzling me a little bit. Eyes are a bit recessed, so maybe I'll give it some kind of like eyeshadowy looking stuff. A little tuft fluff up there. Hmm. Yeah, they kind of had a scowl on their face with those teeth. And from that first picture, I actually liked how there's kind of like almost this drop to the fur, like right behind the head. The fur almost gets a little bit longer. So I'm kind of incorporating that into this design. I liked how the fur overlapped on its arm. And I feel like his paws are kind of important. But even though they've got kind of small paws as a real animal, I don't feel like they're like actually that elegant. So I'm gonna kind of give this critter pretty thick feeties. Like just so it's got sort of a really strong stance. Because I think that's what I get from it more than anything is look at this creature. It's kind of snaky looking, but it's trying to look pretty dang tough. It's almost got like heraldic animal stance, where it's just sort of very tough looking. Do I want to put a paw up? Yeah, sure. No. Tuft. And I kind of like that droopy, hangy downy fur. This is not the best drawing ever, but now I'm starting to get a feeling out of it, and I like that feeling. The feeling's pretty good. I feel like the details in the face are a little bit too. There's a slightly hyena thing going on, which I don't want, but I like the features, and I just kind of need to play around with the proportions of them, I think, to get them to feel pretty good. So I'm just gonna duplicate. Oh, uh-oh. Tools. Wait, no view. Canvas position. Reset position. Yeah. I'm gonna duplicate this layer. Hide that one. Control T. What? No, cancel. I'm gonna transform you to your little tiny baby. This little tiny baby up in the corner as a little reference. You know, make it easy on yourself. You know, don't feel like I drew the thing and it's gonna stay there as is. Feel free to like squish it around and do whatever you want. So I'm gonna try to keep that guy in mind. I'll hide him if I need to kind of like forget the details a little bit about the particulars. But I like having him there because I want to follow that idea and make something that looks pretty cool. So I think the body's kind of whatever. I feel like the face is what I need to focus on. So I'm gonna try nailing the face down. I think after I draw this face, I'll probably head off of the stream. Because I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Oh hey, I don't know how to say your name ever. It's I think I don't have more viewers because I don't tell anybody I'm streaming. That's probably why. Tell your friends, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, how do you say your name? It's PLNRND, and I don't understand. Oh, playing around. Oh, I'm so slow. It's playing around. Okay, no, it's totally obvious now. It's so obvious. I'm just like bad at short wording. And I know that's got a better word than what I just said, but yeah. Let's see if I can make this Egyptian mongoose baby happen. Let's see, get some eyes in, and I think what I really need is kind of like maybe like a wider head, maybe a bit more of a base like this for something. Maybe it's got a taper. Yeah, let's taper that a little bit more. So it's that same basic idea, but a little bit more tapered. And then delete, 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 delete. Forget it. It never existed. Goodbye. I don't need to think about you anymore, dear friend. So their eyes are kind of low on their face. And they're kind of a small animal. So even though their eyes are super small on the actual creature, I actually want to make them bigger because the bigger eyes will make it feel like a smaller critter. And I kind of want to make its eyebrow a little bit of a feature on its face. I think I liked that. Hey, I feel like it's coming together. Yeah. I feel a lot better about this. Than the first thing I drew. But I guess that's one of the things where you have to sort of learn to trust yourself. Is figure out like, oh, I drew a crappy drawing. It's like, did you? Did you draw a crappy drawing? Or did you draw a foundation for a good drawing and that there's lessons to learn from it? Because probably you drew yourself a lesson and you just need to take it further till it's done. I don't know if you ever watched process videos of like people doing like amazing paintings, but it never starts out like perfect. You see them like squishing stuff around, moving things a little bit. Giving that, putting the lip over the nose a little bit, so it's really that feeling. And I know its teeth weren't really gnarly like that, but I think it adds some character to this critter. And maybe, you know, because it's got that sort of a droopy, like, kind of slightly bulldoggy thing. I'll just, you know, I know we can't see the teeth on the real animal, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of a little side mouth there. And I think I want to... I'm not really sure how I want that to read. But I do like that they've got that dark fur on the mask, so I'm kind of giving that an area on the face to live in. Oops. You don't have a really prominent lower jaw, so I think I'm just going to do this. And I think because I put all the fur here between the eyelids, I'm gonna nix doing the furry thing on the top of the head because I feel like that's doubling up on the detail too much. This is adding enough character, so I don't need to do the I'm all ruffled up guys over there. But this head shape, I think I do want the ears to follow that a little bit. I think I want them to break slightly, but basically follow follow that shape. It'll echo the shape a little bit, and then because they break it up, it'll add some interest. And then if it was animated, you know, you could put the ears kind of like nested under the head, and somebody could have fun kind of scooting that around. And then like when you're drawing lines like that, sometimes it helps to imagine them going like across to kind of strengthen the shape a bit, like kind of cutting through. Like, are they connecting and understanding where that point is? I'm going to add a little bit of like this, just so I have a direction on its face. And I do like the broken neck thing. That actually makes me pretty happy. Feels a little flimsy. Ah, there we go. So I'm kind of drawing that line through like that. Again, like when the shape kind of cuts through, it gives it this strong feeling. It's very sturdy, rather than it kind of cutting up and out, which feels flimsy. Like sometimes if you just keep going straight through, it gets the point across and it gives it strength. So I'm going to leave that strength there in this creature. And I don't know, I like that. I like that a fair amount. I think I will put it down to, let's do 30%. And I'm just going to do a little cleanup work to get a cleaner drawing. I'll probably move it up to a larger brush. Let's try a 20 brush. How they set. We'll just see what happens. I'll just try to get some cleaner art out of this, but trying so hard. The hardest thing is, and you know, you've probably experienced this if you draw, it's like, oh, I drew a sketch, it feels so good, and then I like clean up the line work, and it's like, what the fuck just happened? Where'd my beautiful feelings go? I've got this, you know, from to, like, you know, the feeling softened out of it somehow. So when you're drawing it that second time, you're trying your darndest to plus it and not take away from it, because it's a fight. It's a huge fight. Like, try not to take away from your own drawing. You'd think it would be easy because it's like you made it, but it's actually really, really hard. I do a lot of 3D modeling also, and when you're going from a drawing to a 3D model, it's even harder to like kind of keep that sense of fun in there. It's freaking a challenge. I don't know. And then something else that's important is to kind of like trying to make the lines even everywhere. So it's like that black line around just like lower mouth, and I'm just gonna kind of cut it out on the other side because I want it to feel like there's more like the object's kind of like turning away from you a little bit more than the way I had initially drawn it. Another thing that's hard to avoid too is tangents when a line runs into itself. That's really hard to avoid. I do that all the time by accident. Oh boy. It's just not quite. I want it to drop down a little bit, but I don't want it to get too heavy. There we go. That's better. How do you guys like this super weird free music I found? It's kind of a, like, in a way I like it, and in other ways I'm kind of like, what am I listening to? Because it's not like what I normally listen to. but I got sort of tired of the video's audio cutting off. That was unpleasant. So I'm trying to fix some things on the stream, slowly but surely. I hope things will get better as I keep doing this. Hopefully it keeps staying fun for me. Again, it's like with drawing in general, it's like trying to maintain that sense of fun. The sense of liveliness is such a challenge. And, you know, I think when you're an artist, you can be prone to getting bummed out pretty easily. I don't know if that's just an artist thing or if that's just being human. Um, but trying not to fight yourself too much, trying to find opportunities to make yourself happy while you're doing whatever your work is. Really important. Not easy. I'm gonna add a little bit of fluff to those ears, and it's like extra detail. And, you know, it's probably making it noisy, but I like that it chews up the edge a little bit, and again makes it a little bit different from the head shape, even though it's still echoing that same head shape. And this is, you know, really following that line through, trying to. Oh, clean, clean, clean. Try to make it clean. So I'm trying to keep the strength of that neck, but I'm also trying to let the jaw maintain its silhouette. And avoid the tangent that's trying to happen over here. Woof. Okay. So I feel like that's looking pretty successful. This little guy. You know, it's like, whoa. Look like that. I'm gonna take a little trip back in time real quick. Let's go way back. It's right here with I don't know, weird long cat man. And then did this little study over that weird lumpy shape I made after that first impression. Found some more reference. Oh, let's turn that back up. Did sort of another first impression, but a first impression that was a little bit more, had a little bit more detail, a little bit more information in it. 100%. And then I blocked in with a big brush just to make some markers, right? And then started drawing in detail and then hid the markers to sort of fill it in. And then I added some more detail. And then I started to have the fun times with the color. The most fun times, I think. I'll trim that off real quick. Stepping back. It's so much fun to kind of see where you were and then kind of come back to it. Another, I'm going to call this one a first impression drawing, but when I drew this, I was actually trying really hard to make a cool cartoon. Woof. But if you look at this and you look where I ended up, you can kind of see how it did inform where I was going. And so I was getting stuck on that notion. So I did this shape to kind of break me out of the idea of this line work. Because sometimes you just get lost. I don't know. I feel like you get lost in the lines and you forget about the form. And I feel like, whoops, whoa. Doing these big weird shapes sort of gets you back into form mode. It's more like sculpting and less like, whoa, these little lines. Confusing lines. Then I took that one and I did that draw over where the details were not what I wanted. Or maybe they were, but in the wrong order. Whatever it was, I don't like what I drew. I like aspects of it. And then I decided that he was going to be a cool reference. I made him little on my screen. Oh, let's make you 100% him. And turn the reference. Oh, come on, baby reference. Baby reference back on. And I tightened it up, right? I pushed and pulled inside of a shape. I made the shapes relate to each other a little bit more. And I tried to inject a little bit more of a sense of personality I was getting off of, you know, you don't look at all your reference, but you try to take the emotions here and there and try to consolidate it. And I feel like I did a pretty good job of making kind of a scary, angry goat man. Or female. I don't know if there's just male, female. And then just tightening it up a little bit. I think I am going to do a little more work there. Also, I definitely think this is, you know, I said man. I think this is probably angry tough girl. She's probably hunting for foods because she's probably pregnant and needs a bunch of food to go make some stuff happen. Ain't nothing scarier than a pregnant lady who's hungry. Oh man, I was that lady once. It was not a pretty day that one time. Let's see, I think I just want to fill that in. I'm just kind of making things easier to read. When I fill things in with like more black, sometimes I refer to it as Johnny questing because that's the show that kind of influenced my I think my love of very very dark line work and super dark fills. And then for giggles, I'll color this one a little bit before I leave. I'm not going to color it realistically. I am going to color it a little bit like Redont color again, but slightly more conservative than the thing I did before, where it was like a million gross colors. I'm going to keep it a little bit more neutral. I mean, it'll still be colorful, but it'll be more neutral colors. Not quite on the high range of that color scheme I was going to with the hot pinks. So this is sort of a gray creature, and I feel like you can do a lot with purples and blues to sort of make something feel grayish but not look bland. That's something definitely cartoons take advantage of. Like the bad guy is almost never like black and white or gray. They are sometimes, but rarely. Usually it's a purple, maybe purple and black kind of combo, because that just feels colorful without looking drab. I mean, I definitely see it done. It's not like it never happens, but I feel like this is more typical of what I might see. Just I don't really paint with this program very often, so the things I do in it are a little soft and weird. I also don't paint that much. I think because, I mean, this isn't really true, but here, I'm going to say it. I think it's because when I paint, it hurts my eyes because of the colors I pick. That's not really true though. I just like terrible colors. I was talking about how the mask is kind of darker earlier, so maybe the ears get a little bit of that darkness, but the face gets it a lot more. I'm not really sure what color to make the eyes. They have these like strange, almost like green looking eyes. Let's try this. Oh, that is way too light. More saturated, but darker. Yeah, sometimes the colors sort of, even though they're dark, if you put specific colors next to each other, they'll sort of vibrate off one another, which is pretty neat to see. Get some contrast there. Uh-oh, uh-oh, no. Oh, what happened? Oh, that's crazy. I don't know. This program's so strange. Like, I love it, but I also don't understand it. Which is probably not the best situation to be in. Little sheen there. More saturated though. Oh no. Let's try that. I'm not so sure. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. I feel like I'm channeling a little bit. Maybe some. Maybe I'm channeling. Oh, I don't know. You ever feel like you're sort of copying somebody, like not intentionally, because you've looked at their work too much, and then suddenly it's like you kind of want to say like, "Oh, it looks like this," but you also don't want to like make anybody mad about it. Anyway, I'm gonna say it, but I feel a little silly. It's like I feel like I'm channeling a little Ben Bellistrary here. I don't know if that's how you say his name. I just like his stuff a lot. But yeah, I don't color things too often. I actually like the way that looks a lot. It's pretty dope. Let's see. Maybe make the eyes a little bit gem-like. And go up a level. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. Egyptian mongoose. That's my terrifying, maybe slightly demony looking Egyptian mongoose. I don't know. Checking up on, playing around. Rat boy. Good night, playing around. Anyways. Oh, you know what? I didn't even notice my playlist stopped playing. That's probably not the best. I don't know. Anyways. It's I'm sorry, I'm a little bit loopy. Anyways. It's time for me to turn in. If you enjoyed watching me draw this Egyptian mongoose train of thought, and if you have any questions or comments, please find me. You can look up Art of Katie Hargrove on social media. I don't know if Twitch has a way for you to contact me, but I'm all over like the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the Twitters. So if you poke me on there, you can find me. And I'll see you guys next time.